right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Anthony Guerreri. I will be hosting the call, co-hosting the call actually this afternoon with one of the really the top trainer here at Crump and regarding annuities. And many of you have had an opportunity to learn from Eric before. And I tell you what, every time Eric comes and it's an opportunity to share with us, I learn. Sometimes new products and updates. That's always learning and evolving, especially with what's been happening with the industry. I know he'll give us an update on that. Things have gotten better, definitely in the annuity world, and now more than ever, people need our guidance. But there's also there's different ways to listen, right? So the first time you listen to something, you're listening just to try to understand it. The second time you comprehend, maybe you're hearing something for the second time, you learn a little bit more. But every time you start to listen and and you heard it, the next phase is really learning so that you can teach, right? So you can share, right? So that's really how we need to be also listening always is what words is Eric using as he's discussing things? What industry knowledge are you picking up? What's your better understanding of annuities? And so what I've learned through the years is the more that I listen and the more I pay attention, the more I think the simpler I become, right? In a lot of ways, because if I can say the same thing in more of a condensed version, right? To really, it's not about how much I say, it's about how much I can affect that person, right? And so Erica's job today is, as always, is to not only communicate so you have the right understanding of it, but also using the right verbiage, getting people's attention. You look at what's happening right now. I mean, the market just had this, don't quote me on this, but I think it's the biggest drop and the biggest recovery we've ever seen, right? So that's insane. And so many people, because of the virus and obviously the horrible things that have happened with it. But obviously our job is to interpret it from an economic point of view and how we can help families, right? And so I tell you, these annuities have given people a lot of peace of mind. And most of my clients where I'm doing the entire planning for them, especially retirement planning, annuity is part of that financial plan. And in a big part of, sometimes it's part of their just accumulation strategy, money they had sitting in a bank earning effectively zero, right? And we know from our How Money Works book is that the average savings rate right now, it's going to take 800 years for your money to double at the average savings rate right now in any bank, right? So what was happening 100 years ago? And just go in your history books, right? A long time ago. So, but the other part of it is that a lot of people mismanage their retirement and they end up running out of money in retirement because they don't have a pension. They don't have a lifetime income. So those are two key components. How do we grow and protect our wealth? And then how do we make sure that we never run out of money? I mean, that's so important because a lot of people out there, so-called investment people, sometimes they talk about annuities, but they don't really understand how they work. And it's simply the most economic way to provide a lifetime income to somebody. So there's different uses for this. And I know Eric's going to cover some of that today. But just remember, we also record these. Eric did a training for us. Well, I don't know, it was a month, 2 months back. I can't remember. It was an excellent training, right? So make sure you take the time to not just listen to this one time, come back and listen to it again so you can understand and then take notes and then ask yourself, how can I apply this knowledge in the field, right? When I'm going out there and communicating with clients. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Eric Mueller. Thanks again for joining.
Thanks, Anthony. Hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes,
so yeah, I mean, Anthony, just your preface right there is it's an amazing opportunity for us right now, just given what we have, right? The COVID, the markets, you've got China. I mean, it is, wow. Every day there's a new news story that surprises me more than the last. So it's all about helping our clients protect their retirements. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, I'm going to give you a quick 5-minute Crump commercial, and then we'll talk about the meat of the subject today. Those of you who are familiar with Crump, I'm sure you understand that we're here to provide you additional resources. And that's really the key. The relationship with Crump is key. We've been here 9 years now, and our relationship continues to grow. And it's about extras, right? You have these incredible relationships already with Transamerica, Nationwide, Pac Life, and then you add some of the Crump carriers on the life insurance side. We'll talk about annuities today, but also LTC and DI. So please keep them in your memory when you're talking to your clients about what they're trying to achieve. All the information we're going to have today, all of the different products, all that stuff is on our website. Please make sure you're accessing our website through your website, mywfg.com, menu, recruiting, selling, products, providers. Click on Crump and it will take you right to the website. Tons of great information out here. The first thing I always want to show everybody is Contract Now. So Contract Now is our online appointment process. You'll go out, you complete that process. It's the same as paper forms. It's just all online. It's all recorded for you so that you don't have to fill out the same information multiple times, okay? Just go ahead and click the carriers you want to go get appointed with. Go ahead and submit. Please understand that the majority of the carriers are what we call just in time. Just in time means that when you submit business is when they will process your appointment. So if you go out here, request some appointments and don't hear anything for a couple of weeks, it's because we haven't processed it, because you haven't submit a piece of business yet. Once you submit the piece of business, that's when it gets processed. Our life insurance team, I'm sure you've spoken with some of these gentlemen. They have an entire team behind them as well. Jason, Seth, and Brian are fantastic to know which products on the life insurance side may fit your client's needs. Like I said before, you have this incredible relationship with Transamerica, with Nationwide, and with Pac Life, and hopefully those companies work. But if they don't, we've also got access to AIG and Allianz and Lincoln and Prudential. All of these companies are going to have niches for you. So just make sure you're keeping those in mind if your core carriers don't work. Okay. Understand that we're still now on the advanced program, started last year in August. So all the carriers listed here are in the same program. So you got to take cash with app. You got to have the complete in good order application, same set of rules, but those carriers are now through Crump as well. Okay. Long-term care and DI, I know that your office and some of the other offices in Chicago have been taking advantage of those products. We've got some great products out there on the long-term care side. You guys are already familiar with living benefits. We have living benefits as well, but we also have traditional LTC as well as hybrid products. Just keep them in mind. You've got those clients that have dollars sitting idle that aren't for retirement purposes, that they're kind of that rainy day, what happens if money. Great way to leverage those dollars by utilizing a hybrid LTC. Our DI companies, I know you're dealing with high net worth. You're living in Chicago, man. You've got some of the highest net worth people out there. You've got great income earners. How are they protecting those dollars against a disability, right? Disability could be anything. It could be a car accident. It could be, walking your dog out on your bike, having a fall or an accident on your bike, and you can't go back to work. Make sure we're protecting those dollars. DI is an absolutely cheap way to do it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Me and my annuity team, there's 7 of us that are out normally when we're not in COVID shutdown world, out training people all over the country. So please, if you have teammates or you have other offices that are associated, make sure we're knowing about it so we can reach out to them and train them as well. When you have access to Crump, you have access to all the big brands. When you think about the annuity market space, and we'll talk a little bit about here that the global market, what's going on in the market and all that, understand it. Through WFG, you have access to the biggest and the best brands and products available in the United States. These companies represent about 85% of all the index annuity premium in the entire country, and you have access to them. Number 1 is Allianz. Number 2 is Athene, Nationwide. Number 3, Transamerica, Forethought, Delaware, and now a new product with Prudential. All fantastic products. They're all going to fit the client's needs, just a little bit different depending on what the client's trying to do. But understand they're all going to be competitive given the situation at hand. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the index annuity market, kind of where it is, where we think it's going to be, where it was last year, as well as how we can help our clients, because the opportunity for you and for your clients is way bigger than anyone even thinks. We think about what these products do, and these products are, remember, all fixed products. That's all we're going to talk about. There are variable products out there that work. There are variable, or I should say registered index annuities, but we're not going to talk about those. We're talking about fixed. What does that mean? That means your customers' premium, your customers' locked in gains are all protected against risk. And that's what people are looking for today. They're looking for safety. So we look back at 2019, it was a record year in the industry, record year for WFG. Everybody had a great year last year in the market. I'm sorry, in the index annuity market. Okay, so last year was about $85 billion went into index annuities. The year started really strong. 2020 started January and February. The markets were up. There was some volatility, so people were still getting nervous, but some great sales. And then COVID happened. Wow, what happened in March of 2020? Let's think about it. So we had COVID, we had state lockdowns, we had all this stuff going on. But all that time, the market was sliding. The market from end of February, and I'm talking about the S&P 500, went from about 3,400 down to about 2,400. So it lost 1,000 points in relatively 30 days. Now the S&P has come back, but it's had some blips and bumps and roadblocks along the way. What's it going to do tomorrow? I wish I knew. I wish you knew. If you guys have that crystal ball, I always ask about the crystal ball, but man, tell me what it's going to do, because nobody has a clue. So what our products do is they provide protection for clients, and that's really understanding what their needs are. I show this slide all the time because I think it's a great representation of what the market's available, what's available in the market to the client. We think about the right side of that chart. The right side is the equity markets. It's the stock market. It's traditional stocks. It could be mutual funds. It could be ETFs, even variable annuities. Great upside potential. They have sold billions and billions and billions of dollars in variable annuities and mutual funds, everything. It's wonderful. It's great, except for clients who cannot absorb risk. So what do they think the only option is? And this is a messaging problem in our industry, right? But what do customers think the only safe place to go is? They think the bank. So the other side of this chart, you're looking at savings accounts. You're looking at checking accounts. You're looking at CDs, money markets, even fixed annuities. But fixed annuities are paying right now 2.5%. That's at the high end. Not great. Consumers put their money in the bank, and that's because they don't know any different. So we got the right side of the chart. We've got equity markets. We got great upside potential along with 100% downside risk. The opposite is the bank. The bank's going to give us 100% safety with no upside. We'll talk about what banks are paying right now here in a minute, but there's upside in the bank world. Nothing. The index annuity provides them the great balance between the two, because you're going to get all the safety of the bank products, right? You're going to get no risk, zero downside risk, and you're going to get some of the upside. We think and when we talk to customers what the expectations are, and it's really something that we need to manage, is what is a reasonable expectation? And Anthony, you kind of touched on that right there, is what does our customer think is a reasonable rate of return? Indexed annuities are designed to do between 3 and 5% annualized. When I say annualized, not every year, right? That's the average return over the life of the contract, 7, 10 years, something like that. 3 to 5% with zero risk compared to fixed products. That's an amazing rate of return. When we think about the opportunity that's in front of us, and the opportunity is amazing because customers are signaling that they're looking for exactly what we're trying to talk to them about. They don't know the word annuity, and that's maybe a good thing. Or maybe they've heard the word annuity and they don't understand what an annuity is because they've heard negative press. But the products that we offer, the products that we're going to talk about, are exactly what they're looking for. And how do I know that? It's because they're looking for safety. So this is the money supply report. You can look this up. You just Google it or whatever search engine you're using. You just go out and pull up the money supply report. It's put out by the Federal Reserve. This is going back 1 year. So if we go back to the far left side of the chart, we go back to July of 2019, about 14.8 trillion, okay, with a T, 14.8 trillion. So let's call it $15 trillion is sitting in liquid deposits. And when I say liquid deposits, we're talking about savings accounts, checking accounts, CDs, money markets. These are non-qualified deposits. No IRA dollars are included in this chart. This is just non-qualified money sitting in banks. Okay. So we got July, we got August, we got September, we got October. You'll notice that line is trending upward. Why is the line trending upward? Well, it's trending upward because we're almost 11 years into a bull market, the longest bull market the United States has had. customers are starting to pull money out because, right, when you're winning, you take your winnings off the table. You don't let them ride forever. So as you're winning, you're taking those dollars off the table. February hits, you'll notice that trend line was pretty consistent. Between February and March, you'll notice an enormous spike. The gray area is a recessionary period. And you'll see this huge spike in dollars moving from equities to bank deposits. So that number in the end of March is about 15.6 trillion. In the end of June is almost $18.5 trillion. So almost $3 trillion moves in 90 days. $3 trillion moving into safety. What do our products do? Our products provide safety and security, and that's what customers are looking for. The reason they're moving to the bank and not into our products is they haven't been told about our products yet. When they go to the bank, right? When they go to the bank, they're looking for something. They're looking for safety, of course, but they're looking for something. What are they looking for? They're looking for some yield. There's been great articles that have been put out about consumers, especially elder consumers who are chasing yield. They're chasing yield, with the situation that we had in March. Less and less of them were chasing yield. They were moving back to safety. But look at the returns that they're getting. This is the FDIC's national rates. Obviously, local rates can be different, but this is the national rate. Savings account paying 0.06, checking 0.04, money market 0.09, and so on. All the way to the bottom, the best, a 5-year CD, 0.5%. You're going to put your money in a bank and they're going to give you a 0.5 percentage point, and it's taxable. That's sad. I mean, it's really sad. It's the interest rate environment we live in. But why are not consumers clamoring for something else? If you go to the bank and you ask for something better, they're going to show you their CD rates. That's what they're going to show you. Until you tell them, hey, somebody talked to me about an index annuity. Then they go, oh, we heard of those. Yeah, you don't want those. Those aren't good. You don't want an index annuity. What you want is you want to have money in the bank. $18 trillion is earning this kind of yield. Definitely not keeping up with inflation. They're definitely not making sure that they're keeping up for their purchasing power. We think about what the market can provide us, right? We always think about the upside, but we never think about is the downside. Remember that sequence of returns is so important when we're getting closer to retirement. And the makeup, just to come back from a loss is so painful, especially for the older clients. You think about that period in between February and March, right? 1,000-point drop on the S&P is about a 35% drop. If you have a 35% loss, it requires a 53.9% return just to get back to zero. What did we see when we had that market decrease, right? People lost 35% of their portfolio and then they sold. They got out of the market. So they confirmed their loss and they have no ability to make that 54% return back up because people couldn't handle a 50% loss, which would require a 100% return just to get back to zero. Those consumers went into the bank products and they're going to earn 0.5% going forward. Now, index annuities aren't designed to perform like that, but the ride back up on the S&P since March was almost a full recovery. Not quite, but it came back up 25 of the 35% was recouped if they would have stayed in. Remember, if they were in an index annuity, they would have had zero risk and they would have rode up the entire time. And that's what's great about these products. When we think about the consumer, right? Who is the consumer and why are they buying these products? I always try and focus on, number one, that principal protection. We're going to talk a little bit about some different options here and some different kinds of products, but the principal protection should be paramount. It should be number one for everybody. That's what these products are going to do. They're going to provide 100% protection. If I would have bought an index annuity in January, in March, the market went down 35%. How much would I have lost? Zero. And that's the key. Those are those consumers who are looking for that kind of protection. Of course, accumulation. We always want to look at these products from an accumulation perspective because we want the money to grow better than the bank would. And then to a point that Anthony mentioned earlier is that income. These products provide guaranteed pension-like income. The three-legged stool story, and it's a fantastic story. You guys tell it all the time. But that three-legged stool is not around for most consumers anymore. You know, you don't have, traditionally, we don't have pension people anymore, unless you're working for a government or maybe or a union. There's not a lot of people who have a pension any longer. So that third leg is not really there anymore. Social Security is another one of the legs. Gosh, we don't even want to get on that topic. Social Security is probably going to be insolvent in the next 10 years. And then we've got our own assets. And that's where these products really perform, is that providing you a pension-like payment for the rest of your life. And that's the key. Okay. So when we think about how these products work, it's easy to understand. What consumers think happens is they put their money in and the market goes up and the market goes down. Well, that's not. Okay. That's a variable annuity. These products provide you with a hedge. They provide the consumer with a zero is our hero. What that means is that they're never going to suffer market loss. We've got upside potential. We're going to move up with the market and never move down. And the key is the insured, or the customer, the annuitant, is invested in the insurance company, not the actual index. Think about that, right? This is a general account product. We're investing in A+ rated Athene, A+ rated Transamerica, A+ rated Nationwide, any of these big companies. That's where our money is. Our money is invested in these wonderful, enormous, safe, conservative insurance companies. And then the company goes out and purchases an option on an index. And if the option doesn't pay off, it becomes worthless, and there's zero risk or loss to the client. That's the key. The other great thing, not only providing you protection, is providing you gains when other investments wouldn't have. So let's take, for example, this market period that we just had, right? February to current, February to end of June, let's say. Let's say you would have bought a stock. Let's say you would have bought a mutual fund in February, and then the market tumbles 35%. If you would stay in the stock or in the mutual fund, right, you would need to recoup that loss, that 53.9% recoup, just to get back to zero. That's not the case in an index annuity. You put your $100,000 in February, the market goes down, you don't see a penny of loss during that period. You'll gain when the market goes back up. So let's say you go out a year and the market is down over a year. Well, your $100,000 is still worth $100,000, but the market's down 35%. If the market goes up 5% the next year, you get 5% credit. It's looking at the market each market period, not over the long haul. So you could have a negative and then a positive and then a negative and a positive, and all you get is the positives. And every time there's a positive, it locks in the gain. That's what consumers really want. They want to have that safe, positive experience. They want to have zero risk and upside potential. And that's what these products provide. That's what they do. They make sure consumers are protected. What I love about these products, you know, the original index annuity, when it came out, really, it was focused around those retirees, right? It was focused on people who were already in retirement. That's what they were designed to do. But the market is so much bigger today. We think about who the prospects are. I mean, who's really a great prospect here? The question I always get is, what's the right age? Well, it's not all about the age. It's about the consumers, what their buying habits are, where they sit, what their current financial situation is. Think about the current environment, unfortunately, right? We had at one point, I think we had a unemployment number of like 36 million Americans. Whether that's temporary or not, those people were terminated from their job, which means those 401ks could possibly be moved. Now, when the country opens back up and we start to see people go back to work, they may go back to those same companies, but a lot of them are going to change companies and go somewhere else. Okay? Job changers are a great opportunity for us to have a conversation about that safe money going forward. 30 million people unemployed, probably have 401k balances. Again, some of those are going to go back to the same companies that terminated them, and maybe they'll go back into the plan. but think about how many people that is and how many people will be affected locally for you. So those job chambers are a great opportunity for us. The pre-retirees, those people, mid 50s and up, maybe they could be late 40s, but most likely they're going to be mid 50s to maybe mid 60s. Those are the people who are probably retiring under 10 years. Think about the safety that they need in their portfolio before retirement. I always think back to the last financial crisis. Boy, the fact that we have that many financial crises. Back in 2008, 2009, right? We saw this housing crisis, the subprime market. We had some people who lost significant portions of their portfolio. Some people lost 40 and even more of their retirement dollars. So imagine you're 5, 3, maybe 2 years away from retirement. The market's doing well. Everything's great. Everything's rosy. And we take that hit. You take a 40% market loss. You're not retiring in 4 to 5 years anymore. You're working 10 years just to get back what you lost. Those pre-retirees, those people are panicked about the possibility of losing. And the reason they're probably in the market is they can't find safe yield. Remember, checking accounts, bank accounts, CDs are paying under 0.5%. So they're still in the market at risk. They don't want to be. They want to find something else. And of course, we always think about our retirees, the people who are already retired. There is no reason that these people cannot be looking at these products, whether it be for an accumulation perspective, whether they're just trying to continue to grow that money safely, or whether they need that pension payment, that ongoing income for the rest of their lives. What we love about these products is they'll do all of these different things. One of the things that we kind of don't talk about as an aside is for these products, they also offer additional benefits. Now, Illinois is unfortunately one of the states that doesn't allow a lot of the LTC riders. We definitely have some that are in there, but it's not a majority of them. But we never even talk about those LTC dollars. Customers who are in retirement, who don't want to actually buy long-term care insurance, but have a concern, you can purchase annuity products that have those LTC benefits in Illinois, not a lot, but in Illinois, so you can also do that as well. We think about, again, that age group, that question of who's the perfect client. Well, it's not as much about age as it is their investment kind of philosophy, who they are, what they want to look at. We think of the perfect customer being in their mid-60s, and that's a lot of times the truth. But customers who are 35 or 40, who have accumulated money already, who are conservative with those dollars, those are great prospects. It's not a common client, right? We don't see a lot of 35-year-olds with money, because most 35-year-olds are still out having fun and maybe starting a family. So if you're starting a family, you probably have no money saved. But those customers can definitely be a consumer for annuities, again, based upon what they're trying to achieve. When you're thinking about who that client is, it's really ranking 1 to 10. It's the conservative, 1 through 5, 1 through 6. And it's the longer term horizon, 5 to 10 years. I know that doesn't sound long, but from an investment perspective, having to hold something for 10 years compared to a stock which you can sell tomorrow, right? So it's that customer who is a long-term planner and more conservative. Great options for them. Okay. What we always think about is the rollover, right? That's the easy one. Oh, customer changed jobs, want to do a rollover. Yes, absolutely want to look at that. But there are so many uncovered dollars by asking the right questions. And I know that's part of our world, but we need to ask not only about retirement plans, brokerage accounts, but also safe money. So what does that mean? Well, back to the bank, right? The safe money, the savings accounts, the checking accounts, CDs. You'd be shocked at how many dollars are sitting out there not earning interest. Well, we know the number, right? It's $18 trillion. I can attest to you, and I can assure you that is not for people. 18 trillion is mom and pops down the road, $100,000 balances earning 0.5%. Even customers who are invested in the market, not just safety, we got to be asking those questions as well. Remember, the The average expected return in an index annuity is between 3 and 5%. That's the average. Some years it's going to do 9, some years it's going to do 0. The customer's actual equity portfolio. Do they have money in a brokerage account? Do they have money in stocks? And what kind of returns are they experiencing? You can't look at return over 1 year, over 2 years. You have to look at an overall portfolio. And most of these consumers are probably not earning significantly better than 3 to 5%, especially with fees. If you're in variable annuities, if you're in managed money, those customers are probably earning 6, maybe 7 if they're doing well. But they have all the risk. They've got all that risk. Even bonds have risk, okay? So we just need to make sure we're asking those clients, are you happy with those performance numbers? Are you happy with what your current broker is doing for what your current portfolio is doing? We got to think about the risk tolerance. That's obviously the big issue. I again, think these products are, number one, a protection product first, accumulation second. So protection is everything. Are you protected in what you are? And, you know, there's a lot of investment advisors and you know, investment advisors do a great job. A lot of them will tell you they manage risk, and I get that, except that when the market goes down and they're not protected, how do they manage that risk? Well, you still got to take that into account. You know, the time horizon, the objectives, you know, what's the client trying to achieve? And again, I always go back to protection, to safety, to make sure you never lose any of your assets, okay?